Hi everyone, let's see if this works now. For some reason it is not, Facebook is not working as well here today. I've had to delete it 2 times now. So I am coming to you live here today, and I'm going to be sharing with you something that it makes me excited because I know that it is something that plagues hundreds of thousands of people in the world. And I know it plagues people that I know, and it hurts me. It hurts my heart when I know that they're in so much pain. So let's see. Give me 1 second. Okay, great. Awesome. Thanks, Joey. Okay, so what's going to happen right now is I'm going to actually turn the phone around. I have to turn it around so I won't be able to see my messages. But I'm going to turn it around so that you guys can see my whiteboard. So I'm going to be sharing with you stuff from the whiteboard today. I'm going to do my best to keep it under the 30 minutes, but it's going to be a very powerful Facebook Live today. So I hope you guys stick around for the end. So you could see me. Awesome. Okay, fantastic. So today I'm going to talk to you about anxiety. And I had 4 different conversations with people this week about anxiety. And I wanted to share with you how I removed it from my life. I lived with anxiety for several years, and and then I went through a transformation, and then I was fine for about 4 years, and then I had, like, I guess a nervous breakdown, you can call it, where I started to feel anxiety again. I'm not going to be able to see your comments. I'm so bummed about that. But this is the only way I'm going to be able to show you my board. The way Facebook is, it's not like a camera where it actually, you could read it. It'll be reversed. And so you won't be able to read the board. So we're just going to have to do it this way for today. Anyways, so anxiety. I'm going to tell you my story so that maybe you could relate to it, because what's going to end up happening is I'll be connecting to that story a few times so that you could understand the process. Okay, so back in, I went through a transformation in 2000, actually not 2000, I went through a transformation like in 97, I think. I was 24, I'm 45 now, but I was 24. Went through a transformation, healed the depression, got out of it, we bought a house, so we moved to a different area, we saved our marriage. I mean, a lot happened after I went through my transformation and healed my past. And, but then came, I was about 28, 29, I was about 4 years later, and I started to have anxiety and feel panic attacks. And I had vertigo and Meniere's, something called Meniere's disease, which is, it's all comes from stress, but it's an inner ear, you get vertigo. So all this started happening at the same time. But what I'm going to share with you is the panic attacks and the anxiety, mainly the anxiety. Anxiety and panic attacks actually kind of go together. They do, they go together. But so the panic attacks. So I started to have panic attacks. I started to have them at work. I would start to feel my chest pounding. I would start to sweat. I would start to get a chest pain. I'm thinking I'm having a heart attack. I would go to the restroom thinking, oh my gosh, what's going on? I start to freak out. I start talking to myself. I started to hear the ringing in my ears. I would start to pant, and then eventually I fainted. And it happened like 2 or 3 times. And off to the hospital, right? They called the ambulance every time. Off to the hospital, and the doctor's like, oh, it's stress, anxiety, and then they'd send you home with the, Xanax or something, right? And so what ended up happening is, from those anxiety attacks or panic attacks, from that anxiety of being at work, I started linking anxiety with work. So I didn't want to go to work, right? Who wants to feel anxiety? And you start to link things with the anxiety, right? So I linked anxiety with work. So they actually put me on disability for a couple of weeks. I ended up going back to work. I did good for a while. And then what started happening is, as I started driving to work, I lived in the high desert in Victorville, and I was working down in Glen Helen. As I was driving to work, I started having anxiety attacks. So what did I do? I thought the anxiety attacks were coming from my driving. So guess what happened? I stopped driving. So I had to have people drive me to work. I would carpool. Yeah, right. No, they were driving me to work. I had to I'm gonna kind of talk fast here because I want to get this within 30 minutes because your time is important too, but I want to make sure that I give you everything. So anyway, so I started having panic attacks, so I connected it with driving. I stopped driving. Every time I got to work, I would start to feel the panic, the anxiety. It would build up in my chest and eventually turn into a full-blown panic attack or anxiety attack. So and then I started getting vertigo, and I had, this domino effect of things, right? So one day I was like, okay, God, what's going on? I can't live this way. I went to a doctor, and I had gone to his office, and I said, it always feels like I want to faint. I get the pounding in my chest, and I get, all these feelings of like I'm having a heart attack. And I said, I just feel like I want to faint. And he said, well, don't faint. And I was like, what? That wasn't helpful. He's like, you're going to live with this for the rest of your life. And I remember going home that day and thinking, oh, hell no. I am not going to live with this the rest of my life. I had 3 small kids at the time. The thought of living that way forever, there was just no way. I had to find a way. So one day I got down on my knees and I said, okay, God, show me how to remove this from my life. Show me how to heal this. Show me how to fix this. And I'm not kidding. Within a few seconds, I hear this voice in my head. And no, I'm not crazy, by the way, but I hear this voice in my head, and it said, get back to basics. And I had the vision of the book that I read 5 years prior that pulled me out of depression. So I went back to the book, and guess what I found? I found a part where it talks about how to heal anxiety and how to process the pains of it. So I did it. No more anxiety. I quit that job. Oh, let me tell you why I was having panic attacks. This is the important part. Why I was having panic attacks at work. I was working for GE Capital at the time, General Electric. They had a mortgage division. I worked in the mortgage division down in Glen Helen or Devore. And they were selling the company. At that time I was working, I was managing a small department of second lien foreclosures, and they were going to do away with my department. And they were selling it to Wells Fargo. And all I heard was nothing but nightmares about Wells Fargo and working for Wells Fargo and how horrible it's going to be. And so that is what started, and when I started having the anxiety and the panic attacks, is when I started to feel like I didn't know what was going to happen to my future. We had just bought a house. We had 3 children. We needed my income. I mean, my life was not, it was uncertain, okay? It was, I didn't know what my future was going to look like. So give me 1 second. Oh, you can't see me at all. So give me 1 second. Oh, you can't see me at all. Okay, you can see me. Sorry. I looked over at my laptop to make sure that you could see me. I won't be able to see your comments, so I apologize. But as long as you can see me, sorry. I looked over at my laptop to make sure that you could see me. I won't be able to see your comments, so I apologize. Okay, sorry about that. I just want to make sure you guys know that I can't see your comments. Okay, so anyways, thank you everybody that's on. So I'm going to share with you right now 3 things. I'm going to share with you where, well, you already know how stress feels. I shared it with you a little bit, but how it feels, where it comes from, and how to permanently remove it from your life. Yes, it's possible. I did it. It's a simple process. So I'm going to share that with you. Okay. So I think I've shared this before. I don't know if any of you have seen any of my YouTube videos. You can go over to my YouTube channel, Marcella Basta. But I share with you the steps to depression hell. And it starts here, okay? It starts with the stress. Actually, I didn't put it before, but it really starts up here. And up here is all your unprocessed emotions and your pains and your hurts and your traumatic events from your past. Okay, that's already up here. It usually happens in your 20s, your early 20s. So then you start to feel stress, you feel overwhelmed, you'll start to have negative thoughts, which also contribute to this. You'll have anxiety, panic attacks, decreased self-love, self-esteem, confidence, depression. And remember, depression, I'm going to tell you, as if you've never seen any of my videos, depression is a symptom of unprocessed emotions. But people that are depressed are people that have an addiction to something. My addiction was to sleeping. It could be an addiction to alcohol, to hoarding, to gambling, sex addiction. It could be addiction to pot. It could be addiction to working. It could, anything that's keeping you from feeling, that is a form of depression, okay? So depression, and eventually it could lead to suicide. I was suicidal. The only thing that kept me alive were my 2 little ones, and honestly the fact that I didn't want anybody else to raise them, okay? So this is what leads you down. If you're feeling this already here, there's all of this and all of this that needs to be healed, but it's so doable and it's easy to do. All right, so I just wanted to show you that in case you've never seen it. Okay, I've never done a Facebook Live video where I use my whiteboard, so this is gonna be a little bit different. Hope it works. All right, so how it feels: pounding in the chest, shortness of breath, sweating, chest pains, ringing in the ear, and eventually passing out. That was me. I would pass out. They'd call the ambulance. I'd get to the hospital. I mean, yeah, it wasn't fun. So we've already discussed that, right? So that's how anxiety and actually panic attacks, they go together, okay? That's how they feel. I believe they go together. And where it comes from. It comes from an event from your past where you felt uncertain and suppressed the emotions of fear, sorrow, frustration, and disappointment. So this is what happens. When we have situations in our life, it could be in the current life or in our past, we have emotions, okay? We're humans. We have feelings and we have emotions. And when we have a feeling of something, uncertainty, embarrassment, when we have feelings of things, feelings of abandonment, which is the key reason people are depressed, is the key reason for depression is feeling of abandonment. So when we have those feelings, if we don't allow ourselves to feel the emotions, we stay stuck in uncertainty, or we stay stuck in the feeling of abandonment. We stay stuck in the feeling. It's like stick shifts, right? You put it into first gear, so you're in first gear, and then you go and you put it into second gear, and then you can't shift out of that gear. Well, second gear is feeling the feeling of uncertainty, but not allowing yourself to feel the emotions that come with it. So you stay blocked, you stay stuck. So that is literally a block in your life that's keeping you from moving forward, that's keeping you from living life, that's keeping you from being happy, that's keeping you from feeling any other emotion. It's a block. Once you remove the block, which I'm going to teach you how to remove the block, once you remove the block, you are going to feel feelings you probably haven't felt in a very long time. You're going to feel happiness, joy, peace, love, compassion. You're going to trust that there is hope in your future. You're going to trust that everything is going to be okay. When you're uncertain, it comes from a feeling like you can't trust that things are going to be okay. So this is the uncertain. When I started to have those panic attacks, what was I uncertain of? I was uncertain of my future. I was uncertain if I was going to have a job. I was uncertain if I was going to have a paycheck to feed my family, to pay for my mortgage, I was contributing to our household. We needed my income too. So I had uncertainty. I was uncertain of what my future was going to hold. So when that feeling of uncertainty came up, I didn't allow myself to feel any of these other emotions. I didn't allow myself to feel the fear. I didn't allow myself to feel the sorrow, the frustration, the disappointment. I didn't allow myself to feel them. I stayed stuck on uncertainty. So what would happen had I allowed myself to feel those feelings, this is what it would have looked like. I felt uncertain. At that moment, I should have given myself a really good cry and felt the fear of not knowing, the fear of how am I going to pay my bills, the fear of, you could feel it coming up, the fear of you know, how am I going to live? Oh my God, I have to find another job. It was hard to find this job. So there was fear. Okay, I should have felt and allowed myself to feel the fear. So the next, after fear, it would have been the sorrow of losing, possibly losing that job, the sorrow of knowing how to find a job, the sorrow of working so hard at a company that I worked so hard to get to where I was in that company. And the sorrow of, I loved my job. You know, I had to feel that. Then I would shift to the feeling of frustration. I was frustrated. We had been going through that process for like a year. They kept telling us that, you know, we're being sold, get ready, get ready. I was frustrated. I was sick and tired of hearing it. I was frustrated that these upper management people were in control of me. I was frustrated that I had to live by their rules, that they were the ones that were dictating my life, that they were the ones that were, you know, their decision to sell the company was affecting me. It was affecting my children, my husband. Then I would have shifted my emotion to being disappointed. I was disappointed for me, and all this came up when I made the decision to do this Facebook Live on anxiety. I don't like to do Facebook Lives on really big topics because I don't like to take too much time, but when I decided to do it, I remembered all the memories that I had. Good. I've healed them. But I remember the feelings that I felt, and I remember the feeling of disappointment because I wasn't happy where I was in my life. I wanted to be my own boss. I wasn't happy that I still had to be dictated by another person. I was disappointed that I was working a 9-to-5 job. I loved it, but I was disappointed in where I was. I knew I wanted more. I didn't like punching clocks. I didn't like the injustices, and I didn't like how disrespectful people were to each other. So the disappointment was of all that. Okay, so I should have felt my fear, my sorrow, my frustration, and my disappointment, and I would have been cleared. I would have not had any panic attacks because I put myself into third gear at that point. So allow yourself to feel the emotions. It's like you're shifting into third gear. And that's where you're free. Okay? All right. So let me go back a little bit. I wasn't going to share that to the end. But so once you feel this from your past and you felt the situation, now you're blocked and you're stuck in first or second gear, right? Okay. So what do you do? So this, what I'm going to share with you is probably one of the most powerful things that you can do to change your life. It baffles me that this has been out there for so long. I think this book was written maybe in the 80s or late 80s, early 90s when I had found this book. But it baffles me that the white coat community isn't aware of how easy it is to process anxiety. I know they do the best they can, but oh my God, if I could share this information with all of them so they could truly help people, that would be fantastic. What I'm going to share with you right now is how to process the pain, the past pain, how to go back and process that pain so that you can get out of second gear and go into third and fourth gear. Okay, so you could start to live your life. So this is what you do. You grab a piece of paper or get a notebook. I journal in notebooks when I do healing letters. I still do healing letters to this day because if something current comes up, I have to process those. I no longer allow myself to get stuck into second or first or second gear. I'm like, all right, I'm feeling this. All right, let me go process it. So I have a notebook. This is my notebook. I get a color notebook that I don't like. I don't really care for yellow. Not my favorite color. I love purples and light blues, but I don't really care for the color yellow. So I get yellow notebooks. So get a notebook that you could just dump your crap in. Make sure it's a color that you don't like. And so you get your notebook, go into your bedroom, sit down, no distractions. And this is what I suggest you do. Because sometimes when we're so blocked and we have emotional hurts from our past, they just kind of pile up on each other, okay? They're just piling on top. Picture your subconscious mind is full of all your unprocessed pains from your past, and they're all blocks, like literally a block, a block, a block, a block, a block. And so you have, say your subconscious mind is like this that allows you to filter out all the old pains. Well, it's blocked from all these blocks, okay? And so what happens is sometimes we're not able to connect with that original pain, or we're not able to connect. Or maybe you'd be like, well, I don't remember the first time. This is what I suggest, is you go back to the very first time you felt the anxiety. When was it? Were you going through a traumatic event? Was there a death in your family? Was there a problem in your marriage? What was it that happened? Maybe your parents lost their home. I mean, whatever happened, go back to that. But this is what I suggest you do. If you can't remember what the problem was, go into your room, sit down, open your hands, take a deep breath, and invite the Holy Spirit into your heart, mind, and soul. And ask the Holy Spirit to bring up, or whatever it is for you. For me, it's the Holy Spirit. God is always your divine connection. Invite the Holy Spirit, ask the Holy Spirit to bring up the first time you felt anxiety and the memories of it. You have to feel it. The only way to heal your life, there is no magic pill. There is no drug out there. I was on medication, booze bar for anxiety, Zoloft for depression, Xanax. I was on Prozac. I mean, I was on all that crap. But there is no magic pill out there that's going to help you heal your life. If you truly want to live an amazing, exciting life that you love, you have to feel your past pains and heal them and process them. That's what keeps you stuck. So no magic pill, do the work, all right? So here's the work. I'm going to share it with you. Please do it. Write your first healing letter. It's called a healing letter. This is where I got it from. This is the book that saved my life and pulled me out of depression 20 years ago. I actually, this is my book. It's like my little Bible. I've used it. I've read it probably 5 or 6 times, and I've used it so much it's worn. So I ended up meeting him recently, and he gave me a copy. He gave me a signed copy, and I told him and thanked him for being alive and for having the courage to do what he does and share with the world, because he truly saved my life. But this process is in the book. It teaches it to you in the book. So buy the book, okay? All right, so to the process. I have a few minutes. We might go over the 30 minutes. I apologize, but very powerful stuff. All right, so how to permanently remove it. All right, so I just shared this part with you. Remember the first time you had the anxiety and what was happening in your life. Sit down. You could write it out. I was, I was going through a divorce. I was going through a layoff. I was going through a possible layoff. Whatever it was. For me, it was I was going. My company was being sold, and I didn't know my future. Okay, so remember the first time. This is the most important part, is to put yourself back in your shoes and feel how you felt. Don't look at it from where you are now looking back. Go back and then put yourself in the shoes of how you felt back then. It might be a little hard to do at first, but after you do it, it's really easy to do, to be able to step into your shoes and literally look out through your eyes back then as if you're standing inside the body of yourself back then, and what you felt, what you heard, what you were feeling. You might start to feel the anxiety, but start to journal, okay? All right, so put yourself back in the shoes. On a piece of paper, begin writing what you felt, starting with. These are your lead-in sentences. This is how you begin to write it out. So say you start to feel the anxiety, and you're starting for it to build in your chest. Start writing. I feel uncertain because... whatever it is, I feel uncertain. There's no wrong or right answer here, but it isn't there. What is wrong or right is if you don't start with this, or if you don't start with the next several words. These are crucial words to do your lead-in sentences. Okay, so the first one is I feel uncertain because. So for me, it would have been I feel uncertain because I don't know what my future looks like. I feel uncertain because my company is being sold. And there's a possibility I'm going to be laid off. And now again, I'm still in my shoes of Marcella when I was 20. I think I was like 29 or 28, and I could see myself in my office looking down at my computer. Okay, that's how detailed you could be. Okay, so start with the I feel uncertain. Write about maybe 2 or 3 minutes of that. Or I like to go, I feel uncertain, and I keep writing I feel uncertain because I feel uncertain until I don't feel uncertain anymore. Because what will happen is you'll feel a shift, and you'll feel a shift, and you'll start to feel emotions. Okay? The emotion is fear. You're going to start to feel fear. I feel afraid. I'm afraid that I'm not going to pay my rent. I'm afraid that I'm not going, my mortgage or whatever it is for you. I'm afraid I'm going to be stuck like this for the rest of my life. I'm afraid, no, not be stuck like that for the rest of my life, because you're back then. So back then it would be, I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to feed my children. I'm afraid of having to find another job. I'm afraid. Whatever it is, I'm afraid. I like to write it. I'm afraid that I won't be able to find my job. I'm afraid that I won't, I'm afraid. I don't write, I'm afraid that I won't be able to find my job. I don't know where to go. I won't be able to pay my mortgage. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's writing it all out. Okay? Writing it in full sentences until you don't feel afraid anymore. And then you're going to feel a shift inside. If you still feel fear, keep writing fear. If you're still afraid, keep writing afraid until you don't feel it anymore. But you're going to feel a shift, and then stop, pause, and ask yourself, okay, what do I feel right now? Chances are you're going to feel sorry. You're going to feel sorrow. You're going to feel sorrow for what's happened. You're going to feel sorrow for what you're going through. You're going to feel sorrow for what you're going to possibly go through. So feel that, process that, write that out. I feel sorry that I'm having to go through this. I feel sorry that I'm going to have to, be uncertain or whatever, okay? After you no longer feel sorry, your emotions will shift. It's like you're shifting into gears now, okay? So right here is first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, and then boom, you're free bound. But all right, so afraid, and then sorrow, and then you're gonna feel frustrated. And for me, when I get frustrated, I feel a little angry. That's okay. Write it down. I feel frustrated that this company is doing this to us. I feel frustrated that they don't just hurry up and make a damn decision. I feel frustrated. And then just write out, feel frustrated. If at one point, these 4 emotions are what typically happens. If you feel anger come up or sadness, write that out. I feel angry. I can't believe this is, I feel angry. Whatever it is for you. I think with men, they'll feel anger before women usually feel sadness. Okay, so if you feel angry, write it out. I'm angry because. Okay, so you're frustrated. And then not the last one, but the one before last. The last emotion usually is feeling disappointed. I'm disappointed that I have to deal with this crap again. I feel disappointed that I have to, be controlled by these people. I feel disappointed that, or in maybe your possible situation, I don't know what your situation is, but maybe it's, I feel disappointed that I can't contribute to something. I don't know, whatever it is for you, whatever you're going through, whether it be a job loss, of a family member, a death, whether it be marital problems, maybe it's getting a divorce, being cheated on, whatever it is, okay, you're able to process the feelings and go through feeling the emotions that you need to feel. So the last emotion again is disappointed. Process that, and then you stop. You take a deep breath. You're like, okay, do I feel angry still? Do I feel hurt still? Disappointed still? Do I feel frustrated still? Let me see, do I feel afraid? If you feel any of those emotions again, go back and keep writing until you don't feel them anymore. Once you don't feel anything, you're literally going to feel nothing. You're going to feel somber. You're going to feel like you're floating, like there's no emotion there. That's the point you want to get to. Once you get to that point, this is what you do next. Okay, so only when you no longer have any of those emotions, you end with, I want. This is huge. Do not walk away from doing a healing letter without doing this last important part. It's like baking a cake and not adding milk. You know, it's like it's like a baseball game, you know, batting and only going, you know, 3 innings and walking away from the game. I mean, you have to complete the process that I just shared with you, and you have to end it with I want. This is just so crucial, because the way I see it is like this. When you fill out the I wants, you're almost filling in that space that you no longer have those painful emotions. You're filling it with the positives, with what you do want. Okay, so it's almost like you empty the tank of painful emotions, and you're filling the tank with positive ones. Okay, so this is what it would look like. So the I want to be, you know, at that time it was, I want to be my own boss. I want to have secure income all the time. I want to be in control of my own income. I want happiness. I want joy. I want peace. I want them to sell the damn company already, or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever it is you want. Again, back at that time, but it's okay. Even right now, if you want financial independence, I want peace. I want joy. Whatever it is you want, fill it with all the I wants you want. Go to town with that, right? 5 minutes of I wants until you don't feel it anymore. What's going to happen is after you do the I wants, you're going to feel fantastic. Talk about a natural high. You're going to feel fantastic. It'll take a couple of days because your subconscious mind no longer has that block in there. It's almost like, you know, you remove a block and then another block comes in. You're going to have a few days of just peacefulness. But it'll stop the anxiety. It'll stop the feeling of panic. It'll stop that anxiety. If you still have more anxiety, then you probably have to heal another situation that happened in your life. Okay? Go back and do the same process. So the I wants, that's how you process your emotions and how you process the pain of anxiety and how you permanently remove it from your life. This is what I did. I did this for not just with anxiety, I did it with the depression. For 1 year, I wrote 3 healing letters a week. And I went through my entire life as far back as I could remember and processed all the pains from my past. And if you go into the book, please buy the book, but if you go into the book talks about depression, and depression comes from a feeling of abandonment. I had so many instances of feeling abandoned in my childhood that I had to process and feel all those pains and process them. But let me tell you, my life completely turned around at that point. And it continues. I mean, I process my emotions all the time, but I wanted to share one last thing. I know we're already going past the 30 minutes. This is mommy telling you not to stick your finger in the fire, okay? Take it as that. I'm telling you not to stick your finger in the fire. But it is crucial, absolutely crucial, that you don't own it. Okay? Here's a PS I'm going to share with you. Stop owning it. Because it will own you. Stop owning anxiety. And the way you own it is by using words like my anxiety. The doctors told me that my anxiety is because of this. The doctors told me my anxiety, that I have a disorder. Crap. It's not a disorder. It's a symptom of unprocessed emotions from your past. Guaranteed, if you do this process, you're going to feel a very different you. You're going to be a different you. But stop owning it. The only things you own really are yourself. You maybe own your children till they're 18 and then they move out. You could own your car. You can own your house. You know, you could own, your material things, but don't own diseases. Don't. Okay, am I back? My son was calling. Okay, I think I'm back. Let me know if I'm back. I'm going to have to check the notes. Let's see. Okay, I'm back. All right, so I'm checking on my laptop here. Okay, so don't own it. Don't use those words. Don't use words like my. It's going to own you. Use words like the. When I talk about depression, I call it the depression. I separate myself from it. The anxiety, the bipolar, or not bipolar, bipolar too. I used to be bipolar. I healed that too. The Meniere's disease that I used to have, the panic attacks, the fibromyalgia too many times. And it pierces my heart to hear people say, my anxiety, my fibromyalgia, my autoimmune disease. Autoimmune disease, unprocessed emotions from your past. If your body's attacking itself because of inflammation, then you need to eat more fruits and vegetables. That's ultimately what it is, or drink trace minerals. But if you have an autoimmune disease, a lot of times they give that, the white coat community gives that label on things that they can't figure out what's wrong. Okay, unprocessed emotions, fibromyalgia. I can't think of any others right now, but don't own it. Find a way to fix it. I've shared with you here one way to fix anxiety. That same way you can fix depression, whatever you're feeling, fibromyalgia, whatever your any addictions. That's how you fix it, by processing your emotions. So I'm going to leave you with that. Stop owning it. Don't use those words. Give it back. Don't own it. Call it and that you're going to heal it. And I hope that what I shared with you today has not just empowered you, but has also inspired you to change your life, and to heal yourself and to live a better life. Because if you're not living the life you love, that's really your choice. I want to end with that. A happy life is a choice. It's always your choice. I hope you make the choice to love yourself and to love your life and to heal your past. So anyways, please leave me comments. I know I wasn't able to look at too many of the comments, but feel free to leave me comments. If you have questions, if you start the process and you have questions, you could private message me. You could leave me a comment here below. You can leave me a comment. I'm going to link this over to my YouTube channel also. Leave me a comment there. Wherever it is, leave me a comment. I'll connect with you somehow. Leave me a message. I'll connect with you somehow. I would love to help you with that process so you can start changing your life. Go over to my fan. This is my last video I'm going to be doing here on my personal page. Please go over to my fan page, Marcella Fans. I'll put a link here in the comments. I'll put a link below, linking you to my fans page, and check me out over on YouTube also. And stay connected. I hope to see you. I'm going to keep doing my Thursday at noon videos over on my fan page, and I hope to see you all there. Go over. You have to like the page, and maybe if you want to stay, get the notifications when I'm live, that would be fantastic too. But that's it. That's what I got. So thank you so much for sticking around. I hope whoever is watching this, share it. Share it with whoever you think can use it. Share it out to your Facebook page, onto your personal page, and I guarantee you someone will benefit from it. Okay? Thank you so much, guys. Love you all. Take care. Bye.